All right. So, Pastor Nicole and I had an awesome experience at a revival this weekend. I'm going to have to give you a little bit of backstory before I talk about the experience, but we just wanted to take a moment and testify about it because it's something that people need to know about. People need to know God is real, that He's active, and that He's continuing to move on the earth. Even these last days, He's continuing to move in mighty ways. So, kind of the backstory behind this is these Meet Me in the Water revivals for Kayla Gabbard Ministries. Nicole and I have been watching these for a long time now. And just seeing the cool stuff that goes on, people getting saved, healed, delivered. Um, it's just amazing to watch. And we had always said we wanted to go to one of these revivals. But the distance and, making time and stuff, we just had not been to one. So, I'll kind of go on to how the story starts, and then we'll go into what happened there. So my company that I work for, they have a kind of like a social media site that we have. It's our intranet site, and every now and then they post spotlights on employees, and these spotlights go out globally. So I had one of these done on me, and knowing it was going to go out globally, I decided to make it all about Jesus. I'm like, there's no way they're going to post this. Well, they did. It was awesome. They posted it. So, made it all about Jesus. It was an amazing thing, and went out globally and had some really good feedback on it. A week or two later, another post comes out on a guy named Tim, and it comes out, and his was all about Jesus, and it was really cool to see. And I commented on his, he commented on mine. It's like, hey bro, one of those things. And so anyway, I noticed on his that he had a picture of his wife being baptized at a Kayla Gabbard Meet Me in the Water revival. So I asked him about that, and we started chatting over Teams, and I started sharing how some of my health challenges with the flares I was having, and just really dealing with those, and trying to be a good pastor at a church and maintain a full time job, be a good husband, and all those things. And before I knew it, he and his wife Serenity sent me an email. Her email was very encouraging, powerful, and it was just awesome. And so they one night they're like, we need to have a night to talk to you guys and pray with you. And before I know it, it's Tim, Serenity, and their friends Kim and Thomas on the phone with me. And Thomas started praying. The call got dropped. Weird, right? And then we called him back, and Serenity was praying slash prophesying. It was really cool. And come to find out that Thomas and Kim go to all these Meet Me in the Water revivals. They are on Kayla Gabbard's team. So that was really interesting. And they're like, you have got to get to one of these. I'm like, yes, I know I want to. And they're like, there's one in Ohio. Ohio is about 6.5 hours away. It's in a place called Montpelier. If you've never heard of it, it's because it's in the middle of nowhere. And come to find out, though, my company has a site in Montpelier, which is really cool. So we bought the hotel room, and we found somebody to watch our dogs. Thank you, Dave and Addie and Jackie. That was really awesome of you guys to watch our dogs. And we decided we were going to go. And, the week leading up to it, huge warfare, flares, the whole nine. It was crazy. And what was really cool, though, is that with my company having a site there, we were able to leave Thursday night, and I was able to work from that site on Friday. And I only had to take a vacation day. So that was nice. I didn't have to take one for that Friday, which was really cool. So that Thursday night, really tired from driving, right? Nicole did all the driving. I did mostly be in the passengering. And then Friday, she hung out at the hotel. I worked. Saturday morning, we wake up to go to this revival. I wake up, I'm grouchy. I'm not even wanting to go. I'm like, do we really have to do this? Blah, blah, blah. I'm being Mike in his worst form. And so she wasn't going to let me out of it. So we got ready and went. We get there, walking onto the property. you instantly felt the peace of God hit you. I don't know how to explain it other than that. That was peaceful. We go to get in line to be baptized. And you're saying, Pastor Mike, you're a pastor. Why would you get baptized again? I had stuff I wanted to leave in the water. After this, I'll explain a little bit more, but I think more and more the church is maybe not doing baptism correctly. It's turned into more of a ritual than a laying down of one's life and being resurrected into new life. And after seeing the power that is behind baptism, I wanted to be baptized. Nicole wanted to be baptized. So we got in line to be baptized, and say we waited about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. I
But
mean, it didn't feel that long,
it
but then
didn't
when
feel
you
long.
think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I guess it was a while.
Yeah.
We got to know the people we were standing in line with and talking with people, and I mean, even by the end of it, I'm hugging her, and yeah, I mean, it was just really, it was sweet just to be around a lot of people that love the Lord, and um, I don't know, just to see His work in action even before people go in the water.
Yeah, I mean, you would see people go in the water. You hear people getting delivered. Just watching it was amazing. And we got up close to the front of the line, and I told Nicole, I'm like, there's no way we're gonna see Thomas and Kim here. There's no way. There's too many people. I just kind of resigned myself to we're just not gonna meet them. And we get up to close. We're getting close to the front of the line, and they had mentioned they were going to open up this other side on the other side of the dock. And if you wanted to make your way down the treacherous rocks, you could go over there. The rocks weren't really that treacherous, though, but it would have been hard for some people to navigate them. So we decide we're going to go there. We're going to get up to the front of the line. We get up to the front of the line, and we're standing there waiting. And this guy walks by me with Thomas on his shirt. I'm like, Thomas? It's like, yes. I'm like, is your wife named Kim? Yes. I'm like, we're Michael and Nicole. And it was like a hey bro moment again. And it was really cool. We hugged, and you know, it was just really cool meeting them. And he wasn't even supposed to be there. They weren't supposed to be in the water, right?
Right at that time, he was supposed to be on break, and he decided that he wanted to help and just get back in the water. So he did. They weren't him and his wife weren't even supposed to be in the area together, and so here we are. We're both there. They're both there, and so now we're getting in the water.
And Nicole and I decided we wanted to get baptized together, which was kind of a bummer for me because being the tech guy, I wanted all the videos, all the pictures, and I was like, I'll get in first and you get in, and we're thinking about all this stuff that really has no meaning. So we decided we were going to get baptized together, and we get in the water, and I didn't even know if Thomas and Kim were going to baptize us. There were other
Right.
people in the water we didn't know, and here comes Thomas and Kim, and with their friend, what's his name? Kevin, Keith. Am I right? Okay. We're going to call him Keith, and I feel really bad I don't remember his name. So if he's watching this, sorry, man. Yeah, I don't remember your name. But we get in the water, and there's the three of us there. And um, Thomas says to me, we're going to baptize you guys separate. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, I wasn't married to the idea of us being baptized together. So I went first. And so I'll tell my story, and then Nicole can tell her story. But I get up there, and I had some things to confess to get off my chest that I've been holding on to. And then they started praying for me. And let's just say, before I even got in the water, there was a lady, and I don't recall her name, standing up on the shore, making sure before you got in the water, you had a relationship with Jesus, making sure you were saved. So all this stuff that they did was done with so much intention and so much forethought put into it. And to say it was like a well-oiled machine doesn't even give it justice, because they were just leading as the Lord led them. The intentionality and the perfection behind it was just awesome. And anyway, we're in the water. I go first. I'm confessing things, and then Kim starts praying over me, prophesying, praying. Thomas, same time. And then, if you know me, and you don't, if you're listening to this, maybe, I'm not one for fake experiences. When I pray for people as a pastor, I don't push them over to slay them in the spirit. If they get slain in the spirit, fine. If they don't, fine. And I'm not one who will go down just for a courtesy drop for somebody. If they pray for me and the Lord has me go under his power, that's fine. But otherwise, I'm not going to be pushed to the floor. So let me just say that up front. While they're praying for me, though, however, I get hit by the power of God, go backwards into the water, and I'm just, they're holding me up. And the only way I can describe it was I finally know what the peace that surpasses all understanding means now. The peace that came over me, the power of God, it just enveloped me. And they were still praying for me. I'm not for sure what, wasn't really listening too much. And it was just total peace and um, total serenity, not to use Serenity's name, but it was just amazing. Um, and as I'm being prayed for, and as I'm in that total state of just being lost in his presence, I finally stood up. And at that point, they were going to baptize me, and they're praying, still prophesying, still talking. And they go to baptize me. And as soon as I go under the water, I cannot describe it to you, but there's just flashes of light in front of my eyes. I come up out of that water, and all I remember is just in the loudest tongues I could muster, I was speaking in tongues. And what's really weird, it's not like tongues I've ever spoken before. It did not sound like, I mean, I have my prayer language, I pray in tongues, but this did not sound like that. And apparently, people on the shore were clapping and stuff. I have no recollection of that. Just I had my eyes closed, and it again was like the power of God was just all over me, and I couldn't. I it's like I couldn't think about anything else. I didn't think about anything around me. I wasn't thinking about Nicole, what she was doing. I wasn't thinking about Tom and Kim and anybody. I wasn't thinking about that. It was just me and God, and it was incredible, powerful moment. And like I said, I don't go off experiences, but this was one of the best experience of my life. Just being in the power of God and in His presence. And so when I finally opened my eyes, Thomas was like, "You good?" I'm good. And so I kind of got out of the way, and then Nicole had her turn. So you go ahead now.
So I'll rewind just a tad bit. So when we were standing in line, the closer we got, I just kept feeling this heaviness. And Michael's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "I'm okay." And he's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't like." It was just in my chest. It was just this weight, and through to my back. I could just feel it, and it just kept getting stronger and stronger. And he, kept asking me, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I promise you, I'm okay. We just, we're getting in the water." And so when we get in the water, I was blessed that we did get in the water together, because I was able to pray while they were, praying over him as well. I kind of stood off a little bit to the side and was just praying for my husband, and just, praying for God to do whatever, God wanted to do in that moment. And so it was a beautiful thing to be there. And so then I started talking with Kim, and just kind of, she was asking me, why are you here? Why are you wanting to, be baptized? And to be honest, a lot of it had to do with I wanted anything that was of me to be gone. I want to be absolutely 100% sold out, not 99.9, but 100% sold out to Jesus. And if there was anything that was there that was not of God, I wanted it gone. I wanted it to be gone. I want to abide with Him. I want to spend time with Him. I want Him to be the focus of my entire life. And um, I want to be able to do whatever God calls me to do, and to hear His voice so clearly. And so so they baptized me, and I go into to the water, and when I come out, I feel my flesh just wanting to just jump out of the water. And I was like, "What is going on?" I just remember even kind of thinking, like, "What is going on?" Because I could not open my eyes. And so then I kind of, like, all of a sudden, I just kind of sunk into the water. And I was kind of floating. So let me say that my head was above water, but I was floating. And this peace just came over me, and that heaviness that was had been there that had just left. It was gone in an instance. It was just gone, and then there was just this peace, and I'm floating, and I feel the presence of God, and um, I hear him talking to me, and just just different things, um, and I just rested there, and it just I don't know. It's hard to put into words.
You kind of went between smiling and crying a lot. I was watching you as I was praying for smiling, crying, smiling, crying.
Yeah, it was like I don't know, and I think part of that too was that there was some of my flesh that was fighting
Mhm.
with that, and that's where my flesh had to die, and and truly just be dead in the water. And so, I felt like the Lord was just doing a lot of work in there. One thing that I think is, I didn't ask for prayer for, but I have been struggling for some time now with like eczema or psoriasis of the scalp. And um, every day since then has gotten better, and it's like almost gone.
Mhm.
And so I am truly believing for healing for that. And
Mhm.
I am so thankful for that, that the Lord is doing a work and just showing up in my life in so many amazing ways.
And I'll say this too. Since then, I've had one flare, and it was a baby one. It wasn't terrible at all, and it was, I believe, brought on because I forgot to take my medication that day. Since then, I mean, because you guys got to understand, I was having flares multiple times a week, debilitating, calling off work. It was bad, y'all. It was real bad, and I was getting so weary from it. I was just getting tired, and I'm just like, God, just end this, to that point, I was so depressed and stressed, and just I didn't even want to be here anymore. I was just tired, and these are just being lifted, and it's amazing. And afterwards was really cool. We get done, and they did have changing tents there, but we kind of I left my clothes in the car, and we just decided to go back to the hotel and change. The hotel wasn't that far. Like I said, there's nothing in this town besides the hotel, the restaurant, another restaurant, and the wedding venue, and my company. That's it. So I think there's two hotels actually, or maybe three, but there's really nothing. Anyway, that doesn't matter. This wedding venue though was legit awesome. So if you're gonna
Yes.
get married, you ought to look Montpelier, Ohio. So anyway, we go back to the hotel, we change, and we're like, let's go back. You don't go back somewhere where you just been just to waste gas to get back there. Of course you do, because you want to get back in that peace again. That was just on the grounds, so much peace, and I wanted to be back there. So we got in the car, we went back, um, and let me just say they had free everything. From what I understand from Kaylin, she said it. She doesn't want any money changing hands on property, and which is awesome. So got a hot dog, got a cookie, and maybe had some ice cream, and it was just amazing that they had those things there for people. And we just watched people get baptized. We listened to the worship music, and it was just it was awesome. It was just like people that were family hanging around. Just loving each other, and it was great. So we went home that night, and we could have went home Sunday night. I mean, this wasn't like you had to be back day two, but we decided on Sunday morning we were going back. So we get up, we go back to the property. We bring our chairs, and I got this crazy folding chair from Amazon, by the way, that is just this tiny little thing. And I made a total fool of myself. I sat in it, rolled backwards. But you know what was great? No one laughed at me.
Mm-hmm.
They were also gracious and nice. I I think they were probably worried if I was hurt, but no one laughed at me, which was amazing. And I put the chair back up. I sat in it, and I was able to sit in it the rest of the time. I sat on the edge of it. So yeah, funny little person's chair. And so we sat there, and we got to know our neighbors that were sitting there with us, and they were awesome people. And they got baptized, and it was just amazing. And we got to get on the shore and watch other people get baptized, and then just listen to the worship music, hear Pastor Elwood speak, and it was an amazing sermon on the prodigal son. And I've never heard that preached that way before. Pastor Elwood, I might steal that one. Um, no, seriously, I wouldn't, but it was really good.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was moving by the power of the Spirit. And so that was my experience there. Nicole is going to want to talk more about that. I know she is.
I think the couple of things that I just really appreciated um, is watching them do the work of for the Lord in the water, as you're seeing people being delivered and healed and all of those things. That there would be times, right, that when someone gets delivered, that they scream. That it's biblical, and so you see that would happen, and but it wasn't like anybody was looking or trying to go figure out what was going on. You would just notice sometimes that people would just turn around, they would raise their hands towards the water, and they would just begin to pray.
Mm.
And it was just a sweet thing to see that all of these people, hundreds and hundreds, up to 1,000 people, just praying and supporting and loving each other and
Mm-hmm.
caring for each other and helping each other. And there was it was really nice to see. And I know I that after being baptized, one of the things that the Lord's dealing with me on is my I've struggled with my emotions. I've suppressed them a lot, and because avoidance sometimes is easier. And the Lord's like, nope, I give so I'm like going from laughing to crying to like all these different feelings, and and just resting in the peace of God, and just spending time with other believers was amazing. And so I don't know, it's definitely very, very thankful, because it wasn't that we were seeking after what Kayla has or her team. It is God. It is you meeting God in the water. It is all God, 100%. There is nothing else. And that is who is our healer. He is our deliverer. He is the
Mm-hmm.
purpose and the one thing that we need to seek after with all that we have. And, just, finding ways to, draw closer to Him, and just being open to what God has in our life. I mean, I want more of that.
And
Um,
Kayla makes it very clear, don't chase after her,
mm-mm,
or you're, or don't even chase after an experience. You
right.
don't chase experiences. You don't this is why when people hop from revival to revival to revival to revival, it can be a bad thing, because then they're high on an experience. And I can honestly tell you, since I was baptized, I have had so much peace. Things that would rattle me at work, and something happened that would normally rattle me like crazy, and it just hasn't. And I've had peace about it. I've been able to encourage my coworkers to have peace. And yeah, it's been great. The most worked up I've gotten was Tuesday night at Celebrate Recovery, when I had to play keys when I didn't know what I was doing, and I got a little upset about that. But otherwise, I have just had so much peace, and I know that I know what the peace that surpasses all understanding is about now. And I can't ever tell you at any other time in my life that I knew what that verse meant. I knew I wanted to know, what is this peace that surpasses all understanding? I can't say I ever knew it, but after this weekend, I know it. And so, anyway, thank you to Kayla and her team for being obedient to what God would have you to do. We're trying to get a pop up here to happen in Illinois. I really hope that happens sometime soon, because I would love to take everyone I know that to one of these things and just encounter God in a way that is so awesome and so special. So, thank you to Kayla and her team. Tim, Serenity, thank you for introducing us to this. The whole thing was so God ordered, and the steps and divine appointments and all this stuff that happened was just amazing. Right down to a guy I sat next to, and we just sat there and talked like old friends would talk. Anyway, I could go on and on, but I think that's enough. And we're going to testify this Sunday about it to our church. If you're from Meadowbrook Assembly and you're watching this, you still have to come to church Sunday, because other people are going to testify as well. So don't think you get a pass just because you watch this video. So anyway, we will see you later, and thank you for listening.